Hey everyone, Tankenstein here, and welcome to Spaded. In this episode, I'll be showcasing the FW-190 A-8. This is a currently rank 4 battle rating 5.0 interceptor in the German Air Force's tech tree. It is currently an optionally unlocked vehicle, sitting in the same folder as the FW-190 A5, which makes this perfect for Spaded. Now with that being said, in Spaded, what I like to do is take these through at least 3 matches, the first match fully stock, second match about halfway spaded, and the third match fully spaded, so that you could see exactly how these vehicles are, again, from stock to spaded, and you can decide for yourself based on the gameplay footage and my commentary on if you even want to purchase these in the first place, and then possibly even grind them all the way to being spaded. Now, that being said, being that this is an interceptor, it does receive an interceptor air spawn, which means that it automatically gets a nice advantage over other aircraft, and combined with its 4 20mm MG-151 cannons and 2 HMGs, this thing should be able to take out quite a few planes quite easily. But with that being said, enough talk, let's get into the first match, fully stocked. So here we are, fully stocked with the A-8, and right off the bat, the stat card says something like that this has less than a 10 meter per second rate of climb. I don't think that's accurate being fully stocked. I think it's probably closer to 12 or 13 meters per second, which you might be saying to yourself, oh, well, that's not much, and it isn't, but it is at the same time. Like, it's not a huge increase, but it does matter, you know, especially being that it's around 20 or 30% higher than what the stat card actually indicates. But that being said, I mean, even still, you're not necessarily going to get a huge altitude advantage, again, fully stock over your allies. I mean, like, these guys all started off at the airfield, at least for the most part, and they are, for the most part, around my same altitude. They are a bit behind me, but not all that much. Okay, so we're going to go dive down on this A-26. Being that this is an interceptor, really I should be going for aircraft like the A-26, you know, rather than fighters. Not that, again, fighters are bad for me to go after, because they really aren't. You know what? I'm going to avoid that. But I'm going to go for this guy and maybe the BTD and the Wyvern. We'll have to wait and see. Probably should go for that BTD, but let's go ahead and fire a few warning shots across his bow. Hopefully I don't destroy my blue things here. And we should be able to get ourselves a crit and hopefully a kill in a second. Very nice. We have ourselves a set on fire, and now I can go for this B-25. Was not expecting this fella. Got myself a crit, and my ally, I think, shot at me and damaged me pretty substantially. That kind of sucks. Any hoodles, not too big of a deal. We have ourselves a kill and an assist pretty quickly. You know, from just kind of doing some real scrappy work there. So, was going to go for that P-51, but probably going to have to go for this XP-55, the Ascender, so to speak. Ascender, I mean to say, cough, cough. Which, by the way, that was its nickname in service, or not in service. I never saw actual service, but it was called the Ascender because of where it was, its engine was. So we're going to go for this Hampton, I guess, instead. I think I have a fighter on my tail. I might not entirely sure. But let's see if we can go put some firepower down on this guy. Not a problem. Those 4 20mm cannons are ridiculously powerful. And so often we look at it like, oh, well, if it's not nose-mounted, it can be very difficult to get a good hit on somebody. But in this instance, not really. So being that 20mm cannons, like the MG-151s, are, in my opinion, and I'll take this probably to the grave, unless, like, they make a substantial change on them, the MG-151s are probably the most well-balanced, possibly the best 20mm cannons for World War II aircraft, at least in my opinion. They are just overall excellent, and you get 4 of them with nearly 800 rounds of ammunition in total, so I think 195 rounds per gun, which is fantastic. And you get the decent enough 13mm HMGs right here, nose-mounted, which, while they aren't great, they're not terrible. So you're doing okay, you know? So even if you run out of 20mm cannon ammo, which it looks like I will substantially earlier than when I run out of MG ammunition, it's still not bad. You know, like, you can pilot snipe with those HMGs pretty easily. But thus far, I've got 2 kills, 2 assists. I think 2 kills, 1 actual assist. There was a bot assist somewhere there. We're going to see if we can take out this B-25. Ultimately, the way I see it is if you can take out a bomber with these, you can take out a regular aircraft with these. But just overall, what I can tell you guys is that my performance on this, I'm not very impressed with the performance on this aircraft. I'm not like, I don't think it's bad. Let's see if we can get ourselves a hit. Okay. We're going to get something here. A crit. We can get ourselves an assist. I just wanted to chip in for an assist there. But the overall performance on this thing, it's not outright bad, but it's not very good, in truth. Again, fully stock. I'm not disappointed in it. It's just not great. And I think without the interceptor air spawn, you would probably have a much worse aircraft. Like, at least, again, from what I could tell, fully stock, you'd probably need for this thing to see a BR decrease. But this is, only fully stock. And we're going to have ourselves some big upgrades coming up. So as I said, 2 kills, 2 assists, not bad. What I like to do when it comes to my stock to spaded gameplay is show you guys the real gameplay. I'm not just here to, you know, show you guys something where it's like, oh, well, I got 50 kills and, you know, no deaths. Like, that would be irresponsible, especially for something where it's like, it's kind of a review, kind of gameplay combined. I want to show you guys the actual capabilities of these aircraft, of these vehicles, whenever I do it. In any of my stock to spaded videos, I try to be the most honest that I can with anything, you know, as possible. So that being said, let's get into the halfway spaded match, see what we could do. Not bad, got in first place. Again, 2 kills, 2 assists. And this is just a random match that I decided to play with the A-8. That said, halfway spaded. So here we are, about halfway spaded with the A-8. I've got an F6F5 here. And, well, he's pretty much toast now. When it comes to aircraft like that, yeah, it's like, you can get them severely damaged, but sometimes they are still in flyable condition. It's a little bit weird how the severe damage mechanic works. I find for the most part, it's actually pretty decent, but that's in most instances, not all. So I'm going to go keep flying here to this A-21. These guys are going to want to turn in on me, I'm sure, but what I can tell you, the roll rate on this thing is good. Overall rate of climb, performance, everything like that does seem to be quite a bit better. We have ourselves severe damage. I'm not going to worry about that fella. But I do have an RG advantage over these guys behind me. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. Turn around, go for this A-21. Probably shouldn't have made this full loop, but we'll have to live with it. I'm not too worried about it. Should still be able to hit this A-21 with ease. Now, roll rate on this thing, as with all FW-190s, is fantastic. Firepower is great. I do have pretty much just performance upgrades on this thing, like mobility upgrades, so to speak. So nothing, ooh, ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. So nothing all too crazy, you know. Mainly performance upgrades. So while the cannons and all that have not yet been upgraded, nor have their ammo belts been upgraded, I've done okay, you know? I mean, like, I don't really know if they need that. It's not so much of an upgrade that I feel like I would benefit from immediately. This thing, I feel like, benefits much more from its performance upgrades. And the reason being, and even though, like, the mine shells for the 20mm cannons are wonderful, the thing with those is that by getting those, you're also kind of sacrificing on getting earlier performance upgrades, which, again, I feel like are more important for this aircraft. Also, the fact that you have 4 of these... Ooh, I really want to go for him, but I'm not going to be able to make it. Let's see what we can do to this IL-2 swarm. But the fact that you have 4 of these 20mm cannons, it makes up for the fact that you do not yet have mine shells. And even though, of course, mine shells with 20mm like 4 of them, is amazing, it's not necessarily, like, they make up for each other, you know? And so I'm not, again, too worried about it, because I think they have mine shells. Yeah, they already have mine shells in the default belts, even if they're not 100% or, you know, some sort of larger portion of them. So I'm not at all worried about that. We're going to take out all these IL-2s if I have anything to do with it. Oh my goodness. Don't judge me on my worst day. Judge me on my best. Jeez. But overall, I mean, again, I'm just trying to show you guys what you guys can expect when it comes to overall gameplay here. A lot of you guys are going to be going for aircraft like this. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not mistaken, just because they're bots doesn't mean that these are any worse performing, at least in terms of, like, HP, so to speak, than the standard player control ones. So you're going to be fighting vehicles like IL-2s. Not necessarily IL-2s just because of the BR differences, but you could, especially when it comes, if you do want to play this in ground RB, it's like a close air, or as an air cover aircraft. But as you can see, I mean, I am tearing these guys up, and I still have plenty of ammunition, and then some. So I was able to get 3 kills against actual players, and now I'm just tearing up bots. So, thus far, I'll tell you guys this. The grind for this aircraft, like grinding through it, making it fully spaded, is extremely easy. And I think a big part of that is due to how much ammo this thing has, insofar as its 20s are concerned. And again, being that these are so powerful, these 20mm cannons, even with default belts, it is still more than enough to be able to take out tons of aircraft. Again, even if you're a little sloppy with your aiming, like how I was with a few of these IL-2s, not bad. Not bad at all. Plenty of ammunition. Ooh, a little ahead of them. Plenty of ammunition to really do your dirty work and get yourself a lot of easy kills. At least in theory. Jeez. So, we're going to go ahead, head back to base. I'm assuming this match is over. The only aircraft that we still have left is this P4BY. Or PB4Y, or whatever the hell that is. So we're pretty much over here, but again, I mean, I've gotten close to 3,000 score with, like, most of the time I'm not going to show me killing bots because it's kind of a foregone conclusion that most aircraft can do it. But I feel like it's important, again, to show how effective the armament is on this thing, even against bots, because again, a lot of people, they just go after bots. That's a big part of air combat, especially when you're grinding through a vehicle, and this thing can do it quite well. So, that said, we have over 3,000 points. We're going to get into the fully spaded match now, and thus far, I'm very impressed by the armament, not so much by its performance. So, here we are, fully spaded with the FW190 A-8. And I'll tell you guys this, right off the top of the bat, this thing has a lot better of a climb rate than it did before. And of course, you could say, oh, well, Tankenstein, that's kind of expected. It is expected, but I mean, it's actually pretty noticeable. And it does make this into a substantially better interceptor than it was. Ooh, those are the mine shells, guys. It makes, wow. Okay, I was saying before that the mine shells are kind of a bit of a luxury and this, that, and the other. Versus bombers, maybe not. I'd known that before, but it's not until I actively use them sometimes that I'm like, whoa. Anyways, so the rate of climb on this thing, again, it's still a bit, I would say, subpar relative to most other fighters and interceptors at and around this BR. Like, it's not going to be something that blows your socks off, but it's good enough where, combined with the interceptor air spawn, you can actually do quite well with it. Now, overall, the flight performance on this thing, I would say top speed is decent. It's not great. It's good. You know, I'll say it's good. Good, but not great. So it is definitely workable, but it's just not necessarily... Ooh, can we get another easy kill here? And we can. Look at that. I'm loving it. So, the overall flight performance on this thing, namely, speed, is good. It's not like standout. You're getting something like 650 or 60 kilometers per hour for your top speed. So, it's not something that's going to be blowing anyone's socks off. But, again, it is good. Maneuverability on this thing, I would say it's decent. It's not great. The real strength that this vehicle has is going to be in its dive rate. because it does have that interceptor air spawn, and because it is this big old chunky aircraft, it does actually boom and zoom quite well. It also maintains energy very, very well. But, again, another actual big strength here is its roll rate. And because it has this crazy good roll rate, I like to say it can throw its energy around really, really well. And specifically what I mean by that is that, like, when you're in a dogfight and you need to change your direction, you know, in a split second, you can do that very easily with this. Not every aircraft has that capability, and the FW-190, specifically the A-8, can do that very, very well. So I'm going to keep on speeding away from this Yak 3. I do not think he's going to be able to catch me, just based on what's been going on thus far, and he's going to turn around. And that's, again, a good example here. While the speed isn't great, I was at least outpacing the Yak 3 just slightly, to the point where it forced him to change up his tactics in the battle. And we were able to damage him a bit, which is nice. And he's going to try to turn in on me once more, and he's not going to be able to catch me. So this is kind of what you can do. You can run, gun, run, gun, run, gun, so on and so forth. And it's actually a viable strategy, especially versus damaged aircraft. There are some aircraft that will catch you. Oh, look at that, 4th kill. There are some aircraft that will catch you, like, I think Mustangs, if I'm not mistaken, and some BF-109s, but again, the margin of speed that they're going to have versus you is not all that great. But overall, do I like this aircraft? Yes, I do, actually, quite a bit. It has a hell of a lot of ammunition for when you make mistakes like that. And like this, stalling out is not something you should ever want to do, but I just so happen to do it. So let's hope I don't get shot out of the sky here. But overall, do I like this aircraft? I do. I feel like as an interceptor, it's actually quite fun. It's not this amazing aircraft that is, you know, going to be excellent and the best at everything. I mean, like I said, without that interceptor air spawn, and actually the XP-50 is one of the aircraft I cannot outrun. So I'm just going to try to outturn him. But the interceptor air spawn is one of those things where it works really, really well with this. Yeah, this is not going to work. This guy's actually doing quite well. But the interceptor air spawn is pretty much the thing that makes this vehicle good. You know, it really does turn this aircraft from kind of a stinker to what I would consider to be actually a very good and viable aircraft. Like, you can boom and zoom with this. You can take out bombers that are kind of staying a little bit low. You can, and yeah, I know, I kind of stunk versus that XP-50. My apologies. But I still have 4 kills. But you can take out bombers with extreme ease. I mean, especially with those mine shells, it's fantastic. I didn't get an assist for that, but especially with the mine shells, it's fantastic. So, do I recommend that you get the FW-190 A-8? I mean, I can't really say that it does anything too special. It gets that air spawn, and it does have those 420mm cannons, which are fantastic. So, in a way, yes, if you really like FW-190s, and I think that especially at its BR, 5.0 BR, I get into down tiers all the time. So if you like FW-190s, it's actually a great aircraft, but in my opinion, it's not really a necessary aircraft, and it's a cool take on the FW-190, but not necessary, and it's very limited because you can really only take out aircraft. It doesn't really have anything outside of some of those large WGR, whatever rockets, Waffengranaten rockets that you can attach to go after ground units. So it's a little bit one-sided, it's a little bit niche, but I think a really, really fun aircraft, especially if you like taking out bombers. Either way, thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.